So, if you were to ask any retro game collector out there for advice on which beat 'em up you should play, chances are they're gonna tell you Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Turtles in Time for the Super Nintendo. But that changes today. I'm recommending Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the Manhattan Project for the original Nintendo.
There's no doubt Turtles in Time is one of the best beat-em-ups of all time, becoming one of Konami's best-selling games based off of the arcade game.
Even the original Nintendo tried to get in on the action with a port of the original arcade game simply titled Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the arcade game.
In the late 80s, early 90s, home video game consoles were getting a lot more powerful. This meant that players can get actual arcade game-like experiences at home. This meant that developers like Konami can now harness that slight increase in power that Nintendo offered with the NES to port over their quarter munchers to home consoles. And of course, the first Turtles game to appear on home console was... Okay, I don't care what you say, this isn't what we wanted at the time. We wanted some arcade action at home. Who in their right mind like this?
What's your favorite Ninja Turtle video game?
The NES one.
The first one.
The first one.
Not TMNT Arcade
No.
or Manhattan Project.
No.
Fair enough, the game isn't a total disappointment, it's playable and enjoyable for what it is. The Turtles' designs are stiff, enemies in no way reflect the show or comic, and the difficulty spikes way up near the third mission. But all signs pointed up. We know what Konami was able to do in the arcades.
Just put it on here.
Enter Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the arcade game. Sure, it looked a bit lumpy, but it's all here. A turtle selection screen, 2-player co-op, and side-scrolling beat-em-up action filled with jump kicks and all, just like in the arcade. We loved it, and every kid had a copy to go along with their NES. Life was good. If that weekend's rental failed flat, you could rely on good old TMNT to save the weekend.
So Konami finally figured out what made the Turtles work. Side-scrolling, beat-em-up arcade action. You got games like Turtles in Time, Hyperstone Heist. But what about Manhattan Project for the NES? Nobody really talks about this game, and it was one of my favorite go-tos on the original Nintendo growing up. Let's take a look.
So, after the events of the first game, Shredder's back to interrupt the Turtles' hard-earned vacation. Turtles at the beach, that never sat well with me. Like, is this some secluded beach? Are they out with the general public? Why is there a TV? Look at the table. I have so many questions. Shredder kidnaps April and turns Manhattan into a floating island, inviting the Turtles to come and stop him. So we start off in a beach stage. Quite the departure from the normal beat-em-ups that usually start in city streets. Right away, we can see graphical improvements from the previous 2 NES games. The Turtles look rounder, more detailed, and they carry their weapons differently. Go to attack and holy moly, the responsiveness is night and day. The Turtles strike fast and there's no delay between hits like in the second game, which forced you to stick and move. You got your basic weapon strikes, but press down and attack for this addictive toss move, which causes more damage and does not waste health. Jump kicks are more improved. Instead of a delay when you kick like in the second game, the Turtles come down at an angle immediately upon pressing B. Very useful to get away from danger as well. As for their special moves, each turtle has their own unique move, again unlike the second game. Leonardo does a spin attack, Raphael drills across the screen, Mikey does a very useful kangaroo kick, and Donatello rolls around the screen. These will use up health, so save them for the bosses. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Manhattan Project absolutely nails the combat, because in a beat 'em up, variety in combat is going to help break up the monotony throughout levels. I'm getting ahead of myself. We fight our way through the beach and defeat Rocksteady. Basic stuff. Now onto the surf stage. Why? Because we have to make our way up to New York from Florida. And that's the thing I like. You see, every level in Manhattan Project makes sense story-wise. I gotta be honest, in past games, levels just felt like random levels thrown together. Not like here where each level progresses like in a movie. It's that small detail that gives Manhattan Project that story feel to it. You start off at the beach, you surf onto a boat, you ride to Manhattan Bridge, to get onto New York, down to the train, to get to the sewer, to get to the Technodrome, to make your way up to the roof, to get zapped into Shredder's spaceship. If that's not an adventure, I got nothing for you. Level 3 takes place on a boat. This is where I discovered yet another difference in the Turtles. Their range. Very minor detail, but to expert players, this can make all the difference. Let's walk up to this gun here. Raph and Mikey need to be closer to the gun to reach the hitbox. Leonardo can stand further away and Donatello can stand even farther. This applies to regular enemies and bosses as well. When I found out Donatello can defeat Groundchuck here without getting hit, it was one of the most empowering feelings that I ever had as a kid. It's like I discovered a way to make him look like a fool. On to the bridge we go. The bridge starts off with the most badass pieces of 8-bit music you will ever hear. You can hear that progressive rock inspiration. The bridge is full of pitfalls and traps, as well as introducing the game's first mini-boss, Slash.
You really took all the pizzas. Whoops.
Defeat Bebop waiting over by his SUV, and onto the floating island we go. Wow, 5 stages in and we're just now seeing our first cliche city streets stage. Classic TMNT stuff here, broken windows and enemies jumping out of cars. Down into the subway and defeat Dirtbag. Yep, they were able to throw in a sewer stage here, improving on the graphics of the first, making this the superior sewer stage on NES. The sewer stage fakes you out with Mother Mouse showing up late in the level to make you think she's the boss, but nope, Leatherhead awaits, so ration that health. Finally, we make our way into the Technodrome.
Look at the turtles on a big trip doing stuff.
This level was always one of my favorites.
And oh yeah, if you were a fan of the second film, Secret of the Ooze, introducing Raza!
Defeat a normie Shredder and get a Symphony of the Night castle upside down moment. Now chase Shredder up the side of a building, across the roof, and into his spaceship for the final showdown with Super Shredder. Switch over to Mikey for his kangaroo kicks and hammer Super Shredder to death.
Whew, so what an adventure. You get some of the best graphics, some of the best music, a good move set, and tight controls. What more do you want?
Okay, Turtles in Time is amazing.
But get out there and give Manhattan Project the proper chance it deserves.
I don't hear this game talked about nearly enough, if at all, during podcasts or videos about beat-em-ups.
So I hope I was able to give everyone a nice fair look into Manhattan Project, and I want to personally thank everyone for hanging with me to 300 subscribers. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you like the format, let me know in the comments below. I will always still do, proper reviews the way I've been doing them, and I'll see you on the next one.